Hello everyone, welcome back. We're gonna have a little fun today. We're gonna have that classic, you know, uh, 45 ACP versus 9 millimeter discussion. And it's not something I take too seriously. I mean, I think both guns are very good. Um, I actually learned to shoot, many years ago on a 1911. Okay, so I actually started off with my pistol training on 1911. Obviously, I still have one. I still enjoy shooting. Um, there's always that classic argument. 1911. Proven through two world wars and plus Korea, plus Vietnam. Um, so there's no question about it that this is a good combat gun. Okay, but for that matter, so is the M1 Garand. I mean that beat the Nazis and the Japanese. Um, and here's the thing: between if you compare the difference, okay, like over here I got the 9 millimeter. The 9 millimeter, when I run this through the chronograph, right? And I do the energy calculation. This usually comes in somewhere around, let's say, 340 foot-pounds of energy. The 45 ACP comes in at around 380. Um, and that's when obviously it's going to change with different brands, but if you're using the same class of ammo, the difference energy-wise between the two of them, usually hover somewhere between 40 to 50 foot-pounds. Okay, so you're getting an extra 40 to 50 foot-pounds as you go from the from the 9 millimeter to the 45 ACP. Now here's the thing: when you go, the AR-15 slash M4 slash M16, that comes in around somewhere around 1,300 foot-pounds. Okay, and when you compare that, let's say, to an M1 Garand, that comes in close to 3,000 foot-pounds. So basically, the M1 Garand is almost not exactly, but almost twice as powerful as the M16s and the M4s that the Army is using today. And for whatever reason, they made that decision that it made more sense for them to carry a lighter gun with more capacity. Okay, and that's between two guns that have a huge difference in power. Okay, huge difference in power. Whereas between the 9 millimeter and the 45 ACP, there's not that much of a difference in power. Okay. Furthermore, if power was the issue, okay, there's the 40 caliber. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that the 40 caliber actually has a greater energy than the 45. Okay, so the way they stack, it's 9 millimeter, then 45, then 40. Okay, even though the 40 is a little bit smaller diameter-wise, it still has a higher energy. Okay, it delivers more force, more stopping power, however you want to look at that. So here's my analysis. When I consider those things, to me it's like, I'm going to look at the people that make a living, killing people. Okay, and I'm not even going to say the standard Army, because those guys don't carry pistols much and they don't get to use them much. But let's look at the Special Forces guys, okay? Because those guys are going to tend to use their pistols. They don't want to use the pistols, but there's a higher chance that they may end up using their pistols. And why? For some reason they choose the 9 millimeter. Okay. Now there's the classic argument that why have to shoot something 2 or 3 times with a 9 millimeter when you can shoot it once? And forget about the 40 or the 45. Why not 10 millimeter? Let's go 10 millimeter, okay? So why shoot something 3 times with a 9 millimeter when you can shoot it once with a 10 millimeter? And I don't know the answer to that. But for whatever reason, the Special Forces guys don't use 10 millimeters. They use 9 millimeters. For whatever reason, they've determined that it is better to shoot something 3, 4, or 5 times, because a lot of times they'll practice shooting something all the way to the ground. For whatever reason, they have decided that it makes sense to pump something with more rounds than grab something like a 10 millimeter and try to shoot it just once. And I don't know the reason why. But what I'm doing here is I'm just giving you guys a different perspective than the more classic arguments that you might hear. You know, a more classic argument might be, you know, like this gun has 8 rounds. Well, you know, this 380 also has 8 rounds. You know, actually 6 or 7 rounds. So I don't have a problem carrying this gun. Of course, with this gun, this is a much lighter gun. So with this gun, I might actually be getting, you know, 1 or 2 extra rounds versus my 380. But it is at the cost of, you know, an extra pound in weight, you know, and a whole lot, you know, more bulk. Okay, so that's more of the classic argument, you know, of why, you know, why use a, you know, of why, you know, having 8-round 9mm versus an 8-round 45 ACP. But that's not the perspective that, you know, I'm going to take, because I'm very big on not reinventing the wheel. You know, I like to take what's been proven, what the guys that actually do the work, you know, what they have found works in combat. You know, why do they use, you know, M4s instead of M1 Garands? You know, I don't know. I mean, but they must have a reason for it, right? You know, for whatever reason, it makes more sense for them to have a lighter gun with 30 rounds, you know, versus a gun that's twice as powerful that only has, you know, 8 rounds in it. Okay, so, you know, that's the, you know, so when I look at the 9mm versus 45 argument, you know, I see the same thing there. For whatever reason, they have decided that it makes more sense for them to have a gun that has more capacity and put more bullets on something rather than have a bigger gun, a 10mm, and only try to shoot that one time. So, I mean, that's my perspective on this. So, you know, post your comments. I mean, I'm a big believer in, you know, there's never just one way to do things, you know. So it's like I said, I'm not deeply invested in this idea of whether somebody tells me they like carrying a 45. I'm like, hey, if you don't mind carrying that weight, you know, more power to you. Me personally, unless there's riots, unless there's an actual problem in the area, if I'm not expecting to have a problem on any given day, you know, I'm going to carry the lightest gun I could possibly carry, you know. But that's my perspective on that. So, like I said, post your comments. I'll talk to you guys next time.